We are back. Here is the changing strings video. So this is, I'm also going to talk about straightening a bridge and some other things like that, just little maintenance things that are going to help you with your instrument. So we didn't talk about it, but on the inside of your instrument right here is a thing called the sound post. So if you have a violin near you, you can look in here and you can see what looks like a little dowel rod running from the top of the instrument to the back of the instrument. And that sound post does a couple of things. One, structurally, it helps the top, the arch, stay curved, and it helps the top keep its shape. But it also sends all of the sound vibrations down to the back plate, which causes the whole instrument to vibrate. It's science, kids. I know, no big deal. You just thought this is a giant box with wires on it, but no, it's science behind there. So the reason I'm telling you about the sound post is step number one. If you ever hear the sound post rolling around in the instrument, it needs to be reset. So therefore you need to detune the strings right away, because that pressure on the top plate without the sound post could hurt the instrument. So you want to make sure and detune the strings. So I just grab the pegs and go one little turn, and that takes all the weight off the top of the instrument. So that's one. That's my little sound post lesson. I have a handout in the Google Classroom. It says how to change a string. It's super detailed. It's very, very wordy, but I didn't want to leave anything out. So I'm going to walk you through that. If I lose you at any point, I can tell you that you can just check out the handout. Everything is on there. So I'm going to take off one of the strings, and I'm going to show you how this process works. It's really cool. It's super easy. Don't be intimidated by it. You probably want to start on a school instrument with cheap strings, okay, like the D'Addario Prelude strings we talked about. I'm going to use one of those here today. Remember in the budget video, I talked about you can buy strings in bulk. So you just order. Here's what a bulk order looks like. So this is 10 strings. And you get this for, I don't know, maybe 70% of the price you would normally pay for 10 strings. So if you think you need like 10 strings to get you through the year, because you teach at multiple schools of a certain string, you'll find that A strings and E strings break more often, so you can order them in bulk. That's what it looks like. It's just 10 strings up in a little plastic bag, but you can order them in bulk. And if someone at a store tells you you can't, they're wrong. Send them my way. All right, so that is our bulk strings. So what I did, I was doing this just to show you. One, if you're gonna change all 4 strings, change one at a time. Don't take all 4 strings off, because that sound post could fall and your bridge will fall. So don't take all 4 strings off, do just 1 string at a time. We're gonna change the A string today. So the first thing you wanna do is make sure you have the right string, all right? You wanna make sure you have the right size. This is a 4/4 violin. This string says 4/4. A string. So we're going to change the A string on the violin. This is a really great time to clean the instrument. I don't have a rag right here, but I do have this. Here we go. So this is a great time to clean the instrument. So while I have the A string off, I just took the A string off, but if you're changing a string in school, it probably broke, so it's not even on there. So I'm just going to clean the fingerboard underneath the string where I normally couldn't get it, maybe even clean under the bridge where I normally couldn't get it. It's a great time to clean. Step 1, I don't have one at home, but a number 2 pencil, the Dixon, Ticonderoga, whatever it is, the number 2 pencil. You want to mark the groove in the bridge, which is right here. You want to put pencil in there. And the reason we put pencil in there is the graphite from the pencil acts as a lubricant, and when the string moves through the groove when you're tuning it, it's a lot less friction. And you also want to put one up here in the groove in the nut. All right. So that's it. That's with that. Now, there is a way to wrap these where it's right and where it's wrong. And let me show you. So the first thing you need to identify is when you put the string in the peg hole, and I'll show you this close up in a second. When you put the string in the peg hole, you want to wrap the string toward the peg handle. So if you're doing the A or the E string, you're going to put the string through the hole and then wrap the string this way. If you're doing the G or D string, you're going to put the string through the hole and then wrap it this way. I'm going to show you that without the instrument. So picture, here is our A peg. You're gonna put the string through that little hole right there. And then you're going to wrap it, and it's going to go toward the peg handle. See what I mean by that? It's going toward the peg handle. It'll eventually wrap up super tight. I have a picture of that on the handout so you can see what I mean. The reason that's really important is because when you put the string, when you wrap it up, the string has to actually, since the pegs are tapered, there's no mechanics in here. This is the same way that they changed strings 500 years ago. And so the string is tapered, so that string actually acts as a pulley, and it pulls the string into the, or excuse me, it pulls the peg into the peg box and helps it stay. If you have a peg that's not staying, then you actually want to check and make sure it's wrapped correctly, especially on cellos, because that can really keep the peg from not working properly. If you have a question about that, maybe we can discuss that in the live session as well. It's kind of confusing. And so when you're teaching kids how to use pegs, I told you we would get to that, right? So I think of the peg face as a clock. So like right now it's at noon, right? Noon and 6 o'clock. You can get a string from flabby to in tune with 1/4 turn. That's it. And so that's a lot, because kids just spent, months or years twisting these 1,000 times to get it in tune. So this goes from flabby to in tune, and I'll show you when I put the string on. So the one thing you want to tell with kids is you want to make sure, one, they are moving super slowly and checking often. I'll kind of do one here. So I move super slowly and I'm checking often. You do have to press the peg in a little as you turn. If they are good pegs, you don't have to press in like crazy. And what you don't want to do is this either. You don't want to twist it all the way up and then crank it in, because then you could actually hurt the instrument, okay? So here, let's get that A string changed so you can see that. This video is already long enough. You guys are tired of watching videos, aren't you? Oh. I hope to see you in person next year. It's so much fun. The workshop is just a great time. So if you get a chance at some point, we hope you can join us. I don't get paid any extra money by you coming to the workshop. I just want to see you, because that's the fun part. It's one of the highlights of my summer, just going and meeting new teachers from all over the world. Okay, I'm going to angle this down. This could get kind of weird looking. Boom, there we go. That's going to work out just fine. Okay. All right, so I have the instrument. A good way to start is to have it sitting flat on something, because that's super easy. If you see like a veteran teacher, they'll probably just change it in their lap super quickly. So flat. So I put the string in the tailpiece. This is a good time to unwind the fine tuner the whole way out. And then watch, I karate chop it here. That way it doesn't come out of the fine tuner. It just keeps that pressure. And then I put the string in the little groove, the hole of the peg. Some people like to cut excess string off. Completely legal. And if you're wrapping the string up and there's way too much there and it's not wrapping correctly, or it's rubbing against the peg box, then cut a little bit of the string off. I don't think I'm going to need to here, because I can see that the hole is drilled pretty far from the peg box. So I'm doing one wrap on the wrong side of the hole. I know I didn't say that earlier. One wrap on the wrong side of the hole, and then one wrap on the correct side of the hole. I'm going to try and show you this closer. Okay, we're back. So here is the string is in that hole, and then I'm going to go one wrap on the wrong side, and then I'll switch it over and wrap it on the other side. I'm going to attempt to hold the phone and do that. I should have done this with somebody home to hold this for me. Not quite sure how I'm going to do this. All right, we are back with the string changing. I'm going to tilt it on the side. So I said I'm going to put one on the wrong side and then wrap it on the correct side. So here's one on the wrong side, and then I cross it over to the other side. And we wrap it all up. And I usually have a tuner going for kids, or for me. So here, actually, you can see with that red one really, really well. So you can see there's the hole, and that he did all the strings on one side of the hole, but that is beautifully wrapped. Things you're looking for from a good wrapped string: no knots or anything here, and we're not touching the peg box. It's hard to see mine because of the lighting, because the top of the string is back. So here's the hole. I did through the hole once on the wrong side of the hole, then I wrapped it over on the right side. So remember, the winding should always be on the side of the peg box. So here's the G string, and it's on this side. Here's the E string, and it's on this side. I hope that makes sense. So that was changing a string.